Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together, we can elevate Springfield. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Elevate Springfield. Robert here, excited to bring you more actionable strategies. Hey, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we all can elevate Springfield. Got a great interview for you. First off today, we've got Todd Bringuet, from the CEO from Ace Sign Company, one of the premier companies here in town. They do work here, of course, locally, but really all across the country. So we're going to have a great discussion surrounding innovation, company culture, and processes and frameworks, and how he does that at Ace Sign Company to help elevate his personal life, but also the company on the whole. So we'll discuss those with Todd, and then we're going to have a discussion afterwards on how that relates to some of the 10X concepts, and look at those three things through a 10X lens. So let's get right to it. Todd Bringuet, CEO of Ace Sign Company, after the break. We'll be right back.
See how our team of sign professionals can build your brand with truly inspirational signage. Learn more about what Ace Sign Company can do for your business at acesignco.com. Ace Sign Company, built to inspire. Visit us at acesignco.com.
And we are back. Joined in the studio now with me is Todd Bringuet, CEO of Ace Sign Company. Todd, thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Robert.
Yeah, appreciate you stopping by. Always a great partner. Appreciate all your support over the years for everything I've done.
Oh yeah. No, you guys are doing fantastic work. We're happy to be a part of it.
All right. Well, Todd, let's start with just your background. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm CEO of Ace Sign Company, based here out of Springfield, Illinois. We're sixth generation sign makers. Myself, my brother, my cousin, and so we've been at it for a little bit. We've seen a little bit of change. Started off working with hand painting. My fifth great grandfather was a hand painter from Germany. He came to Springfield and he was painting carriages and wagons, and so he had taught a lot of the family how to do that hand painting trade and that skill, and they took that knowledge and started to apply it. In 1887, they got in the sign business, started to apply it to sign manufacturing. So we have seen a lot. We've seen everything from hand painting to the invention of light bulb entering into signage, and neon and porcelain enamel, and so and today it just keeps going.
Yeah, innovation at a rapid pace, right?
Rapid pace, yeah, pretty fun.
So just out of curiosity, what's the oldest piece that you have that the family did? I don't know if that's a good, but I'm just curious. I don't think I've ever asked you that before.
That's a good question. We do have a number of hand painted pieces in the sign museum that we have at the factory as well too. And we've got one in particular. It's like a canvas stretched over a wooden frame that I know was at least early 1900s. My great grandfather had hand painted it back when he worked for the family business, and he was doing hand painting. And so it was a metal gold dairy. That's what.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask.
One of them in the museum, metal gold dairy, and really those hand painted pieces are so cool. Ghost signs, you hear that term. In fact, I know one spot as I'm driving down MacArthur here in town, there's an old store there that you can see the old ghost sign kind of faded into the brick, and see the Ace Sign Company insignia still from decades ago.
You kind of get into that if you're ever like driving through small towns where the downtown is kind of not quite what it used to be, but see all the ghost signs on.
Yeah.
I think that's
No,
see
it's
some of that
cool. And you've got a lot of folks. That's something that we pride ourselves in as well too. We're trying to keep the history alive, and we're trying to drive forward. There's a lot of cool people living that out. There's some folks in our industry called the Letterheads, a specific group of them called the Wall Dogs, and they'll travel the country and use those old skills to bring back some vintage looking pieces to some communities where it really fits in. And in fact, Danville, Illinois has a really cool set of murals that were done by the Wall Dogs. If you're ever going through Danville, it's a cool thing. I think there's a dozen of them maybe in there. Really cool pieces.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you always know you wanted to be a part of the business?
Yeah, the things that I loved really interceded with what we were doing as a company. I used to love tinkering and putting together Legos and doing artwork and being creative. Those are just the things I enjoyed as a kid. And work was like just a gigantic version of that. You commonly get the question in family business sometimes too. It's like, what you really want to do.
Right. Right. But this is what you wanted.
It really was, yeah. And very fortunate. My brother and my cousin, the three of us, we have very complementing interests and skills, and building a team that has a great deal of that well past what we bring to the table too. So
well, I know we've talked about this before, off air, but tell us about your path. You're CEO now, but and I've talked to you before. You said you've done pretty much every job that's in there at some point.
Yeah.
So what was kind of your path at Ace from start to where you are now?
Taking out the trash,
right?
That's where you start, right? Keeping a clean shop, it's important for us. And there's a lot of things that you can do that are small tasks where you can be very productive and be a part of the team, but at the same time, watch and have that curiosity to ask questions and stuff. And so I think that was a big part of me successfully learning a lot of things, was just to be present. You don't have to be doing it. You don't have to be an expert at it right off the bat. Photoshop was this. It wasn't a verb yet.
Right.
It was this new fandangle tool. So just watching some of our graphic designers and asking them questions about how they're interacting and what tools they're using, and that curiosity is what starts it. And then you get a little bit of an opportunity to put that to work. Some of them are generous enough to let you switch seats, and you kind of do some work with them, and they provide you some guidance. I've had so many great mentors at the shop, and that openness and that ability for people to share is what allows us to continue to grow.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about the breadth of what Ace does. A lot of people might know you for your big commercial signs that are out there and everything.
Yeah.
That are awesome, but you guys do a lot of different things. Right?
Oh, such a wide variety. The technologies and the products that we produce, you might be going through a store and you might see a product, you might see like a slushy machine that's got a graphic on the front of it, the real colorful popping graphic. And that very well could have been done at Ace Sign Company.
Sure.
From manufacturing decals to banners to golf outing signs to vehicle graphics. Start with carriage and wagon decoration, hand painting those. We live that out on a daily, wrapping all kinds of vehicles, emergency vehicles, all kinds of business vehicles, semi-tractors, planes, trains, you name it. So we've got the graphics side. They do a whole variety of work on their own. And then we also have the fabrication side, where a lot of these larger structures, as you mentioned, seeing on our website. A lot of when you go to asignco.com, you see a lot of theater marquees, kind of the grandiose, the stuff that really utilizes all of our departments, which is super cool. But yeah, there's a lot of small products too. We want to be a one-stop shop. We want to provide that convenience to people and do it in a real professional and effective manner. One of our core mottos that you'll hear is built to inspire. And that's, as we carry all that through, we want to provide that one-stop service to where folks are not only getting a sign, but they're getting something that tells their story, and they're getting something that has a professionalism and communicates even emotion that is just all about them. A lot of people, you look at a lot of signs, you look at a lot of displays, And whether you're connecting it or not, you're making a lot of decisions as you look at those visual communications that a company has out there representing themselves. And, you think, oh, wow, those guys look professional. Or, wow, that looks like a company that I want to be carrying service
absolutely.
for me. We see ourselves as a very important part of propagating the success of our clients, and we'll take that seriously.
Absolutely. No, you guys certainly live that out to a T. I know I've told you many times, one of the favorite things I see you guys do at those theater marquees, I just think they're so awesome.
Yeah,
bringing back cool. That. I mean, that is just so cool.
Yeah. So. That's a lot of the old school trades, Benningham neon, hand painting, things like that, and then laser cutting and automated systems.
Sure.
So we pull it all together for those ones.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, Todd, what do you do personally to elevate your life and business? What are some things you do?
In preparation for today too, I've been doing a little bit of listening up on some of the past, and I think much like some of the commonality that you hear through your Elevate podcast, and I hear as I read leadership books and stuff, you always hear these common threads, and one of them that is certainly a part of my routines is to just to focus, meditate, pray on those things that are going to be a positive blessing to our clients, to our team. We want to be carrying the torch forward. I think purpose is what it's all about. When we enter into a day and we act, intentionality is a word that's very important to me. If we have a good purpose and then we act intentionally to carry out that purpose, there's a lot of potential distractions in any given day, and I'm sure we all experience firefighting moments of our lives.
Absolutely.
Too. But you want to stay tuned in and not just what you think is right, but staying tuned into the team, staying tuned into our clients. There's a lot of cool innovation that happens when you start to pull things from every given direction and turn it into solutions for folks.
Do you have like a set time during the day that you set aside for, you talk about meditation and prayer? Do you have a certain time of the day that you kind of say, this is my meditation time?
Yeah, I think morning is one, getting ready in the morning, and that opportunity to just kind of visit the day and what's upcoming, and really, take an opportunity to be thankful for what we've got. Whether the day before was a great one or not so great one, right. We got a lot to be thankful for. I think that puts you in a good frame of mind to approach the day ahead. And it kind of depends on the day too.
Sure.
We got 2 kiddos as well too, and so we're running the race.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of times nighttime can be a good opportunity to focus on that. It's a little bit harder to find those meditative rhythms in the middle of the work.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's impossible.
Right.
And you hear of a lot of incredibly innovative folks that take a bit of time throughout the work week, maybe take a couple of days to go meditate on this problem to think about. But that being said too, we have a great team full of people that are working on solutions continuously, and taking a moment to slow down, to speed up.
Right.
That's something that is so difficult, and I think we're really blessed as a business that has grown to the point where, and even with where we're going, it takes a lot of intentionality to focus on working on the business instead of just purely always working in the business. I think there's something very unnatural about it for a lot of people to work on the business, to work on the systems, but ultimately in my role as CEO, it is a great deal of my responsibility to help us work on the people, work on the processes, work on the product. Because when we take that phone call and we have an opportunity to help someone out, the level of care, the passion we put into helping them create an excellent product that represents them well, that's a huge part of it. But a lot of the preparation that we do in advance to create an excellent product, to have excellent methods and processes and well-trained people in place, that's a really, really big part of it as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, being able to work on the business rather than in it all the time is going to give you the space to grow the business, right? So, I mean,
you find it not controlling you as much in the process as well, too. And it gives you a baseline to continue to grow off of as well.
Right. So you just talked about processes, frameworks. Let's dig into that a little bit more. What are some of the processes or frameworks that you guys use at ACE to elevate the company?
It's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. I always refer to the business as one of the most complex three-dimensional puzzles, kind of just, XYZ axis. It's hitting them all and it's crawling out there. And there's just so many intricacies and different pieces that are tied together. So it does take a lot of systematic thinking, whether it's training tools, whether it's systems that help with scheduling, building a bill of manufacturing, estimating. That there's so many different components to it, and that's something that we're seeing more and more with continued development of technologies and programming to be able to tie those systems together and to be able to continue to expedite that communication and garner more insights from some things because they all touch each other.
Sure, absolutely. I know one thing that you do extremely well is kind of grow your employees, mentor and grow your employees. What are some of the processes or frameworks you use around building your people up, essentially?
Understanding basics, understanding the why. We have a really diverse set of products on our side, so you want to skip ahead and be like, here's the answer.
Right.
But I think for people to be able to ultimately help people navigate it, for them to have the highest confidence in why we do what we do, it's really important for us to instill that in them. So, yeah, I've got a gentleman who's joining our architectural division right now on the sales side, and we're stepping through what's the difference between a machine screw and a self-tapping screw, all those details today, because it's that understanding that has created the intentionality on how we approach different projects and to be successful. If you're attaching something to a brick wall, it's probably going to be a little different than drywall. And, and we spend a lot of time touching base on those things and kind of bouncing between that and the processes and tools that we use and the products that those parts create. So it's a lot of educating, and certain people are going to learn at different paces. That's part of the process. We kind of want to see them hit those baselines that we're establishing, but at the end of the day, we try to reward people for going further, faster, and using all that knowledge to further what we're doing.
Sure. So I know there's always continuous education throughout, but that initial part where you're talking about that gentleman right now that's learning about the screws and everything, do you have kind of a general onboarding timeline that a lot of that happens in?
Yeah, I think a lot of that process can happen in a base level in about 2 to 3 weeks for us in a lot of positions. And we try to kind of intermingle things where we're doing some reading, doing some memorizing, if you will, but then we're also doing some hands-on as well. And like that part side, like we'll go through the shop floor and we'll be dissecting signs in the backside of knowing it. So seeing it, putting your hands on it, understanding it, doing shadowing with folks in different departments for us, like CNC, electrical, fabrication, graphics production. They're getting a mix of the hands-on and the written, and doing everything from written quizzes to just having that experiential learning side of it as well too.
That's awesome. So do you have most folks maybe in the shop setting, do they go around and learn kind of as many different skill sets as possible, or do you kind of give them a few of them that they go around and learn that they become more of an expert in? How does that work?
I wish that everyone in our company had an opportunity to deeply work in every aspect of the business. I think there's so much respect to be gathered from that. A lot of people may not understand what other parts of the machine are doing on that side. we all do a better job of serving one another when we have a respect for what one another bring to the table. And so we try our best. We can't have everybody do every job, be an expert at everything.
Right.
But on the flip side, we can educate them on a lot of those pieces. So we do, this gentleman that's doing training with us right now, he'll be doing essentially every department, be doing shadowing with them and have some first-hand experience of what they're up against and see how his work impacts the quality of their work.
Sure,
So,
absolutely. You mentioned that you have so many different skill sets out there. How does the collaboration process work? I mean, like you're about to put a big sign up. I mean, you've got the giant Motorhead sign right down the road. I mean, how does that come to fruition, kind of collaboration wise, between all these different skill sets?
it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's changed a lot. Probably, I would imagine for other businesses much like ours, but I think if you're keeping up today and with the way that technology is impacting us as well too, the necessity of understanding that team dynamic and understanding the shared fate that we all have as part of that in the team is huge. Automation is playing a big factor into that as well too. The past has seen a lot of tribal knowledge with folks, especially like in our world of custom. That's very true. You got your master welder, your master electrician, and it's like, hey, throw me in, coach. I'll just take
Sure.
it.
Right.
But when we go about the process now, we have to be much more intentional about it because we've got to train machinery to be a part of that as well too. And we're trying to, like everything these days, we're trying to go at the speed of light. So I think back in the day, being a young gun designer and getting into it and seeing opportunities for that, I might go to one of our tradesmen and they buzz off, kid.
Right.
That's my thing, and it's interesting too, just leadership and team dynamics too. Like for a lot of individuals, we see our value in what knowledge we carry and what we do, and that it's not true.
Right.
It's not how that works. Like your ability to be able to operate efficiently and to share that with a team puts you collectively in a completely different position than when you have a bunch of individuals who know information.
Right.
So really going from that tribal knowledge to more of a collective knowledge hub and design specifications. Our product has been a major focus for us to make the product the absolute best it can be in a very intentional manner by gathering that collective knowledge. Decades of information from folks who do know processes really well, but at the same time being really open to new thinking too. A business like ours, like I think that's part of our secret to success. Two of our core values are history and innovation. And history. If someone new walks in and they say, "Hey, I've seen this done a little bit different way. I think we should change this up." And if we take decades of learning and we just throw that aside and don't pay attention to that, it's going to be harmful.
Right.
But at the same time, too, if we take decades of knowledge and we don't open up our eyes to doing things in a new way,
right, get stuck in the old, and
you're going to get stuck in the old, and you're going to die with that. And so really embracing daily, head on the knowledge that is possessed by a lot of people and that experience that we've had, but then also the humility to just constantly be learning and trying to move the needle forward.
You ever run into any kind of roadblocks when you're trying to collect that tribal knowledge into a collective knowledge rather than just a bunch of siloed people? I mean, there's got to be people out there that still want to keep their siloed knowledge. But
for sure. I think it all goes back to the why. I think the way that you approach that as a leader, and when you're coming to your team, expressing what your ultimate goal is and how we're trying to move the needle forward, when they realize that what is being done is in service to them as well. It's in service to their clients, in service to the entire team. And when they see that, when they understand how it makes their life easier and how we want them to succeed. If you go to somebody in the same sense and you say, "Hey, I'm changing what you're doing because we can do it better," like you're probably not going to have traction in a way that, "Hey, this, better than anybody. You're doing it more than I am. Fill me in, let me know. Asking them about what we can change and how we can change it. There's so many different skills of people in a lot of different organizations, and just open yourself up to be humble, to understand how they all come together to take things forward is huge.
Absolutely agree. We mentioned a moment ago that maybe one of your keys to success at ACE is that kind of blending of history and innovation. And I mean, from the outside looking in, I would say that's completely true. I see that through and through. So let's dig more into the innovation side. What are some of the things that have changed over the years, and what's coming into the future here for innovation for you guys?
I think a lot of it just starts with understanding. There's really like two dynamics, I think, for a lot of organizations. In manufacturing, it's very, very true. But I think in so many organizations, it's the same. There's an understanding of what are the needs and the opportunities, and there's an understanding for what are the technologies and the methods that we can use to create solutions. And it's interesting where sometimes you find situations where, let's say one of our groups that our clients come from, we got banks, let's say, as an example. If I intimately understand what banks are trying to accomplish, what they're trying to do, what their processes look like, what challenges they're up against, how they're trying to communicate, what they're trying to communicate. A lot of times there's things that a particular client may have no idea that that's even possible.
Sure.
Yeah, one of my favorite books on this topic is a book called Blue Ocean Strategy.
Yeah. And
it really helps you to understand those core values. And, as you combine that type of thinking with a deep understanding of gaining knowledge on both the side of the client and the technologies, you can start to put things together that nobody saw before. There's a quote in that book that it's very direct, I guess. It's Samuel Roxy Rothapel. He was the gentleman who started the Roxy Theaters. He has a quote in that book that says, "Giving the people what they want is fundamentally and disastrously wrong. The people don't know what they want. Give them something better." And I think that is a huge opportunity as you look at business propositions, value propositions of what your business or what your product does. It's not about doing the same thing everybody else does.
Right.
It's about doing it a little bit better, or a lot better. And so that by kind of turning that perspective, it takes you out of the red ocean into the blue ocean of opportunity to really help make a difference. And it gives you an opportunity to educate people. It's not always easy. Sometimes changing the way, if somebody's done something the same way for decades, it's not easy to convince them otherwise. But when you do a good job of showing them, hey, that hurdle that you were up against, you don't need that anymore. Like, let's go at it a different way. So sometimes you end up on innovation. Sometimes you end up having situations where you see their needs and you see the opportunities, and you look at the technologies that you have and say, "Let's go."
Right.
We can create solutions that you're not seeing there. And sometimes it goes the other way around too. Sometimes we bring on new technologies that help deliver on certain things. But those technologies have these attributes that do really good at these certain deliveries. And so sometimes you have a technology come about, and then you get to looking back at the scenarios that people are in. You're like, oh,
there's a use case right there.
Yeah, there's another new use case. So yeah, it goes both ways. And I think staying in touch with both the how I can best serve my client and my team, and how and what technologies are out there, what's possible these days. Paying attention on both sides of that coin will help you out a lot.
Yeah. So what are a couple of the biggest technology advancements here recently that have changed the way you guys do business at ACE, or changed the way you manufacture, or anything like that?
We're seeing a lot of development constantly in different ink types and different machinery, whether it's printing technology or cutting technology. We're constantly keeping up on all sides of that coin. I think the thing that's going to be really interesting in the future too is how is kind of like the in-betweens, the conveyance of things. And there's still a number, especially in our business, there's a number of hands-on tasks They're going to remain that way for a little bit. But yeah, you start to look at technology too. You start to think, well, maybe we can build this a different way. We've got technology that we're looking at right now. It's probably about 1,000% increase on efficiency on one of the tasks that we do.
That's amazing.
That's a number you don't want to ignore.
Right. No, not at all. Not at all.
And of course, the robots are coming. We're all going to lose our jobs.
Right.
So, you go into that whole process. But the way that works every time is that you have new opportunities for people to be doing more productive things to bring more value to the process. And we just, we may not need to hire quite as many in the process of serving more, but we have that level of efficiency that helps us to best serve. And ultimately, it actually creates a higher level of opportunity for a lot of folks in the organization.
No doubt about it. Completely agree there. So how has AI made a big impact on your business yet? Or do you see it making a big impact soon?
Yeah. Well, Google said so.
Sure. Right. They sure did. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the experience you had with Google here recently.
It has. It's Google Gemini, of course, is their AI product. And we've been a Google Workspace user for years. But yeah, we're sitting at a football game this season, and I was sharing a text message with my wife, and sometimes you get those messages and you're like, that can't be real. But my brother fortunately had it from going into the spam box, and he saw that it could be a real thing, and he was doing some touch base with the Google team. Ended up Google corporate marketing had reached out to us, and their Workspace team had identified us as being a power user of the Workspace product, and wanted to come to us to see how we might be able to help in them telling this story. The program's it's Google's 50 States, 50 Stories. And if you Google search it, you'll run across the Google Workspace page where they're talking about how a lot of businesses are remaining relevant by using AI in their business. We were highlighted with use of Google Gemini for creative applications.
Yeah.
And so they highlight in there some examples how you can use Google Slides to do AI generated content. There's a lot of it's incredible. It's really incredible. We've had a lot of projects that have been deeply impacted by AI artwork and by AI in other capacities too. That was neat experience. I think we did 3.5 hours of audio podcast type of thing, and 3.5 hours to get 30 seconds. Good.
Sure.
That's apparently so. Actually, by this time tomorrow, we might have enough good content for your podcast.
For the podcast,
yeah,
exactly.
So
for the next 12 hours or so.
That's right.
Wow.
It was cool. And they flew in a crew, shooting 8K video. Really cool. The producers got the harness he's carrying with a monitor, and they're watching it live on screen, and boom mics, and it's talking to each other. In fact, they had a gentleman set up in our cafe space who was actually live cutting the video while they were shooting it.
Oh, wow.
And then he had a Starlink device that he had planted outside of our cafe, and he was actually uploading the video content directly to the production studio while they were doing that.
That's awesome.
Super cool.
So cool. It aired during the Super Bowl, right? It
was around third quarter of the Super Bowl, and it was really cool. It was a neat collaboration, and they were looking for folks that have that intimate connection, some history, and are still moving the needle forward. So we had some good conversation. We just made a good fit for them.
Pretty amazing that you've been a part of 2 Super Bowls now.
Yeah, that was. It was not our first Super Bowl.
Right, not your first Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl 48. Yeah, we did the Roman numerals down in Times Square. That was super cool.
Yeah. How'd that come about?
That was a production company that was doing what they called Super Bowl Boulevard. It was the downtown experience that was attached to the Super Bowl. It was downtown Times Square. And so this production company that was putting together a lot of elaborate pieces for that, one of the kind of centerpieces was this 10-foot by 50-foot Roman numeral set It was about 3-4 foot deep, but all aluminum construction and big 3/4 inch thick acrylic faces, kind of had this like glass-like aesthetic to it. I think the X weighed like 900 pounds. It was a very serious letter set. I was on a hydraulic lift set. We ended up shipping it to New York. Everybody sign your life away. Nobody can see this thing before it goes live. We ended up shipping it to New York in a Conestoga that was all undercover. And so it arrives to New York. Conestoga pulls up to this big stage setup that they have. And, without anybody seeing it, it goes straight into the lower stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had this hydraulic lift system where the Radio City Rockettes and the mayor and all these folks are on stage. And these giant letters are lifting out of the stage like magic. Super cool. Yeah. And that,
So cool.
you get everybody. That was another one of the kind of like the theater marquees you mentioned, like everybody was involved.
Yeah.
Every team had some level of involvement. The IT team did DMX controls on the lighting setup for it. And it was awesome.
Well, how cool is that for your team to be able to say that they did the Super Bowl Roman numerals?
Yeah, no.
Out of all the companies across the country, you guys did the Super Bowl numerals.
Yeah, that's been a really cool part of the growth of the company. Whether we're here in Springfield or traveling here and there, there's a good chance we run across a piece that we've worked on. There's a lot of pride in that to see your work out on display.
Yeah, 'cause, that's probably something that a lot of people don't know. How far you guys go. You're not just
Springfield. Oh, yeah. No, our logistics team is coordinating projects daily in California and Florida and New York. And
that's amazing. So over the last handful of years, companies have had a really hard time finding people, right?
Yeah.
But when I look at your company and the times I talk to you, you guys seem to do pretty well about and I think a lot of that is due to your company culture that you guys have there. You have a phenomenal culture there. So tell us a little bit about the ACE culture and how you kind of build that.
Yeah, we're actually going into another process on that here shortly as well too. It's it's a continuous process. It's not something that magically happens, and it's something you work on daily. It's the core purpose of our business, what we're doing. For myself, we're here to steward something that's incredible. When you've been blessed with some resources that can do good for others, you want to steward that and multiply it. Parable of the 10 talents. If we just take what we've been given and bury it in a hole, we're not doing any good. We want to take every resource that's out there, whether it's a piece of technology that we have, whether it's a student from CACC that's getting ready to do an internship, all of our team members, we want to work with each other daily to grow that so that we can multiply the good that we're doing to build signs that inspire for our clients, to build ourselves up as teammates, and to build up our product so that it continues to serve us well into the future and serve our clients well into the future. So just daily, how do we look at that? How do we focus that? It's, talking about systems, and we're trying to be structured, but at the same time, you're trying to be agile too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's moments where that agility is really important. And I think it probably overlaps a little bit more than what some people think. Like, I'm trying to improve a small process, and I need some agility to look at that now. I got to look at that now with the team. Like, no better time than the present, and being intentional. And it does get a little confusing at times for folks. And but when the best of intentions are in play, you want to be constantly dedicating time to be learning. You want to be constantly dedicating time to be organizing, and through those processes, you commonly learn things that, as you reflect on that and you reflect on your purpose, now you can start prioritizing, and then you can start executing on it. Sometimes you have projects where you're kind of looking at that in a big picture, but I'd say like every hour of every day, I've got that going on in some capacity with the team, and we're trying to just make sure we're doing the right thing to keep it going.
I love it. So, with all the processes and frameworks involved, company culture, all the innovation that you have, we've touched on it a little bit, but how do you kind of intersect all this to help elevate your clients?
I think kind of goes back to that conversation about, what are their core needs, what might be doable that they don't even know that it's possible. Like that that is really, there's something magical about that. It's, when you do a really good product development, a good product, we got a new product getting ready to roll out here shortly that I think is going to be very revolutionary. There's like this sense of magic about
I bet.
people, where it's like, wow, that's incredible. I didn't know you could do that. That's neat.
I think I may have said that before in your shop before. Oh, I think that might have been me a couple of times.
No, it's, and I certainly, I love that. I would look up at your wall and I see Disney influencer, that Imagineer.
Yeah.
The magic of it is, so you create emotion, and that's what we're built to inspire, right? Like that's what we're trying to do. So that's how we best serve our client, is to build something that inspires them, that inspires their client to help them be successful. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of different pieces to that pie, and just being humble to use your team, and being diligent and being aggressive to stay with it. There's way too many opportunities to see a potential pitfall and stop. Sometimes you do need to know when to
stop. Exactly. Right.
That is
right.
your skill as well, too.
Right.
But you need to push past in a lot of cases, too. And just a lot of times anxiety builds around those moments where it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And then that completely stops you in your tracks. So you have to be able to find a moment to just kind of put it out there and trust others. I think that kind of goes back to the faith-based side too, where it's like, I need to be able to let loose of this. And if I relax for a second here, put it into others' hands, and good things will come about.
Absolutely. No, you mentioned Disney. I'm a big Disney fan. The creativity, like you said, the evoking of emotion, the immersive experiences that they can create. A couple of his quotes that I always love: imagination has no age. I got that on one. The other one is kind of fun to do the impossible. That's always a good Disney quote that I like. I really admire the way that, one, they built the company, but the way they did it with the creative and the immersive experiences that really evoke so much emotion in people.
Yeah.
And it's really become a vacation spot for me and my girls a lot too because of that. Because we can all go down there and be kids, right?
Yeah.
right. At Disney World. So it's fun.
That's those type of opportunities we're trying to create in signs to give people that feel, that vibe, that emotion of what our clients are all about. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of different skills. You got critical thinking. If you don't know how to do critical thinking, it's a problem. Planning and collaboration, being diligent, having courage to just keep moving forward, and really just loving and respecting everything that is a part of the process. The clients, the team members. Activity drags us down, and so just staying positive with it is a huge core skill in that too.
Absolutely. You kind of strike me as a kind of fun to do the impossible type of guy too.
Yeah. Why not?
I can see you saying that.
Let's go.
Right, exactly. So real quick, Todd, over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of great events here locally. We had our local first event at your place that you were gracious enough to host us for. A great night. Then we had another one, the Central Illinois Customer Service Association, with the leadership lessons of Ted Lasso that you're in there. So how important is that for folks out there to get involved with those type of organizations, to be able to connect and find those collaboration points, learn like we did at the Ted Lasso event? Why is that important?
Yeah, so important. There's of course what we do as a business, like that's part of the needs of our community and the people that we serve, our clients, our company. But there's so many dynamics to it. We've got National Federation of Independent Business as a group that I'm on the leadership board with. We've got some upcoming events with that. We're going to be hosting the Illinois Chamber of Commerce. I'm a board member for that as well too here coming up. There's so many topics that sometimes hold back small businesses. That's something else I'm very passionate about. We've got a proposed piece of legislation right now called Small Business Savings Account. That's huge opportunity to help small businesses that have a really challenging stack up against them, to help them succeed and to help them develop some good habits that are going to help them be successful for decades. It's definitely so rewarding to see people growing personally and to see that become another piece that's part of the team dynamic, whether it's a team of our community or the team of a sign company. We just wrapped up with Engineering in the Classrooms, another program I've been involved with. Just had a competition this weekend out at Lincoln Land Community College.
Oh, I didn't realize it was already competition.
Yeah, Blackhawk kiddos did great, and they got, I think, 5th out of 15 or so. Nice. Seeing those kids solve problems, seeing them learn these critical skill sets that help us be extremely successful with what we're trying to accomplish as we continue to grow as persons and teams. It's super fun to see those kids solve a problem and jumping and fist pounding like they're the Super Bowl. That's cool. Yeah.
Now I'd encourage everybody out there to get involved in the community. There's so much out there to where you can make an impact on those around you. But Todd, we've had a lot of takeaways so far, but give me your top strategy on the personal side and top strategy on the business side to help people elevate their life and business.
Yeah, on the personal side, find those opportunities to give, to serve, to be present. I think that balance is being a CEO. I don't know if you're asking the best person because we're kind of notorious for going a little over the top.
Sure.
But fortunately, I've got a very understanding wife who's with me in the business too, and sees that there's life lessons. That's something that's being part of a family business too. I don't know if it's, I don't know. There's, I guess it's not just family business. Certainly the same for yourself. I see it in yourself all the time where it's like that purpose that you carry out at work is the same purpose that you carry out at home. And so I think in a lot of the same ways, I find myself not separating that as much. And I think that's good because there's just one purpose to do right things, to multiply, again, everything, whether it's at home or whether it's at work. We want to multiply and steward the things that we've been blessed with. And so that's home or work.
I love it.
My go.
I love it, Todd. Yep. Well, appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon, and thank you for all your support over the years. We're going to let Todd get back to elevating Springfield here, but for the rest of us, we'll be right back after the break. Hey, everybody, if you like what you've heard so far, hey, join us over on Facebook. We have a group and a page over there. You can also join our free community where we will bring you additional insights and strategies to help you elevate your life, your business, and ultimately our community. You can find that link in the show notes. We would love to have you join us. Let's get back to it. All right, how great was that? Todd Bringuet, a sign company. He and his entire company are certainly helping to elevate Springfield. So, hey, now we're going to take those 3 primary topics that we discussed there and kind of put it through a 10X lens and see what 10X has to say about these 3 items. So let's start with the processes and frameworks. According to 10X and Grant Cardone, success is predictable with the right process. Success in any endeavor, whether it be a business goal or a personal goal, is not random, but follows a structured process. So having repeatable, scalable systems is crucial for any business to grow or for you to achieve any of your personal goals that you want to achieve. One of those initial frameworks before any of the other one, really, you could consider massive action a framework. Cardone mentions there are 4 degrees of action, and the one you want to be in at all times is massive action. That's where we are taking our goals, multiplying them by 10, and then taking our actions and multiplying them by 10 as well, because as we've discussed before, most people underestimate the amount of effort it takes to actually reach those goals. So you have to have that massive action framework in place in order to reach those goals. So As part of the coaching program that we have through Cardone, there are a number of different frameworks and processes that we use, but the whole idea, again, is to create some standardization, some consistency, so be able to consistently achieve success. It's not just a random thing. It is predictable. Systems and processes also can give you automation that will increase efficiency, and it allows you to duplicate yourself or duplicate your team as you are scaling. Another great thing about processes and frameworks is that it really provides a way to remain accountable to your goals and to your team and to yourself, and allows you to track what needs to be tracked. We've talked before about, what is important gets measured. Everything needs to be quantifiable, so you know where you are at. According to 10X, what are some of the systems you need to manage on the business side to maybe increase revenue? First thing, you need to have clear ideas and targets. That's a system you need to manage. You need to manage your system of getting attention. If you listen to any of my 10X tips of the day, I talk a lot about attention. You want to make sure you're getting enough attention that really you're starting to get criticized. And when that starts to happen, you know that you're at least taking the right level of action in your attention system. You need to have a system for leads generated, leads converted. You need to have a system for managing money. You need to have a system for managing a team. You need to have a system for scaling. And you need to have a system for managing time. These are all things that we do and that 10X does as part of the Grant Cardone team. And we have plenty of coaching processes that we could help you through that if that's something you're wanting to look at. So hey, rate yourself or rate your business on some of those systems. How is your system related to creating crystal clear targets? How is your system set up in terms of follow-up or KPIs, key performance indicators, onboarding, training, recruiting, all those different types of things? There should be processes and systems in place so everybody knows what needs to be done and you're able to remain accountable to that and scale. All right, so next up, company culture. 10X places a strong emphasis on company culture, believing it is a critical element in a business's success. Cardone argues that a strong, positive culture can help drive sales, improve employee morale, and really increase overall productivity. So the main two things that we look at in 10X are creating a culture of high performance and accountability. So when you're looking at high performance, it's hiring the best people. You want to make sure you have the best people on board. After you have hired the best people, you want to make sure you set high expectations. So ambitious goals for these high achievers. A culture of excellence will inspire employees and you to push yourself and themselves to achieve more. A big part of 10X is also training and development. We've got a full Cardone University that all of his employees use, plus many, many companies across the country. I use it myself every single day. I want to make sure that employees are always improving and staying aligned with your company's mission. And along those lines, creating that company culture, that strong company culture, really starts with communicating that mission and vision and make sure everyone is clear on that mission and vision. And leaders need to be articulating this on a regular basis. One of the other big parts of 10X culture is this positive and energized environment. High energy motivates people. When I've been down at company headquarters down in Miami, every morning they have a all company meeting or even when we're down there for training, all the employees come into the training room, circle around this entire classroom space. They're separated out by all their different departments, and they've got music playing. Everybody is pumped up, high energy, and you're going around the room talking about all the different wins from the previous day. All the departments are sharing out on their wins, their deliverables, what great happened yesterday. I think that really gets everybody pumped up for the day. I know I'm pumped up for the day whenever I'm down there and see that. So what could you do in your company right now to create a similar type of vibe? Those morning meetings are awesome. You could do the same thing in your company, bottle up that energy and get it going. They also have customer testimonials during that time, seeing how their work is impacting people and businesses. So those are some of the things that 10X does to create a strong, positive culture. So finally, with innovation, with 10X in general, massive action, big giant goals, that's the key, right? So innovation could be something brand new, or it could be something just improving upon what is already being done. And really the entire 10X mindset is about constant improvement and constantly stretching and constantly pushing. So innovation really comes relatively easy when you have a 10X mindset. One of the biggest things with this is, the success formula for 10X is, big idea times intense focus times short periods of time plus coaching equals target attained. So what is your big giant idea? What is your big innovative idea that you could be pursuing right now? In 10X, we've had a Cardone University for quite some time, and that was around before online learning really became super popular. It was a way for companies to be able to learn sales and marketing training anytime they want from experts. So that was innovative in and of itself. Part of Cardone Capital is innovative right now. Cardone's approach to allowing folks to invest in his real estate through the trust he has is innovative. So there's always innovation happening at 10X or through 10X at Cardone Enterprises. So what can you do to strive for innovation, to constantly be in a growth mindset, to constantly push for more, to stretch for better, either in your personal or professional life? So that's how those three relate to 10X. And we're going to be right back after the break.
See how our team of sign professionals can build your brand with truly inspirational signage. Learn more about what Ace Sign Company can do for your business at acesignco.com. Ace Sign Company, built to inspire. Visit us at acesignco.com.
Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Thank you to Todd Bringuet for spending time with us, doing great work over there at Ace Sign Company. A lot of great insights around company culture, innovation, processes, and frameworks. Hey, we're going to be back at it next week, but in the meantime, take some of these actionable strategies, add your discipline, and follow through to get results. And together, we're going to continue to elevate Springfield. We'll see you next time.